Welcome to CIO Leadership Live. My name is Lucas Mearian. I'm a senior writer with Computer World Magazine. I'm at the CIO 100 Symposium and Awards Show in Scottsdale, Arizona. And I have with me Christopher Nardecchia. He is the Senior Vice President, Chief Information and Digital Officer at Rockwell Automation, which is a global leader in industrial automation and digital transformation. And you're headquartered out of Milwaukee?
Correct, yep.
Great, thank you for being with me today.
Yeah, pleasure, thanks.
Appreciate it. Well, first of all, I want to ask you, because you have two roles, how do you balance the dual role of leading both IT and running digital transformation at Rockwell? Where do those responsibilities overlap and where do they diverge?
Yeah, that's a tough thing to do, especially when coming into a new role, trying to decide how to allocate your time. And I've taken the approach, or I took the approach when I first came into the organization about 7 years ago, to over-index on kind of the transformation of the company perspective, to help the company grow and scale, while simultaneously kind of transforming the IT organization and righting the ship and the balancing of that. So, I really emphasize trying to link what we're doing in IT to the company strategy. So I'm going to index on the transformation that helps us achieve the strategic objectives of Rockwell Automation. And then, make sure that we're not just enabling the company strategy, that we're integrated into that strategy. And when you integrate yourself or your organization into the strategy, then inherently you're kind of improving your own IT operations. So I kind of remained focused on kind of the bigger picture of the company and the strategy, and then the IT stuff kind of follows because it has to support that broader strategy of the company.
So, vision comes first.
Yes.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That makes sense. What are some of the unique cybersecurity risks in industrial environments, and how do they differ from more traditional enterprise IT threats?
Yeah, in the manufacturing environment, everything's about availability, right? So when you think about data integrity, yes, it's important, but not as critical as availability. So in IT shops traditionally will say, well, we're running this at 2 or 3 nines. If the email goes out for a little while, it's frustrating, but it's not mission critical.
It doesn't shut the machines down.
In manufacturing, it's mission critical, and you're usually dealing with, the industries I came from in either the nuclear, chemical, or pharmaceutical. You're either throwing away batches that cost millions of dollars, or you're doing something that would create a safety event. So I think in a manufacturing environment, that availability becomes really kind of the paramount thing. Is you got to keep things up and operational, and you really can't afford downtime. So you're really running 4 or 5 nines all the time in manufacturing.
Okay, so I think I had it the other way. Yeah. So how do you build cyber resilience in that kind of environment? How do you build it not only into the software platforms, but in manufacturing worldwide? And how do you think AI is going to impact that in the future?
Yeah, the resiliency is about, redundancies, in both power and, in our case, kind of controllers, like right down to the IO level. So having redundancy across, anything that could fail. So you find your single points of failure, and then you build redundancy and automatic failovers between those, so that if any one thing can't take you down. That's kind of just generally how you have to think about it. And then, in that, even though you're building all these redundancies in, you got to plan for the worst case scenario. So then you start thinking about recovery. The way that I kind of looking at cyber resilience is closing the front door. Don't make things easy, but expect that if you had a nation state attacking you, they're probably going to get in. So now you got to really focus on, can you recover quickly of your critical assets? So do you have good backups? Have you tested those? Can you recover within your recovery time objectives, right? And recovery point objectives, right? So that you can bring things back up. So that's kind of how we focus on things at Rockwell, is what's tier 1, tier 0 critical infrastructure, your tier 1 applications that you have to run, and then can you bring those back in a state that they were before. So having immutable backups, things that couldn't be, violated or adulterated.
And I wonder how many industries have to think about another country attacking them,
Yeah.
for example. So
I mean, I think that there's certain industries that would have nation state actors. We support critical infrastructure, so we're worried about that, not only for ourselves, but for our customers that
Right.
are running critical infrastructure, water, wastewater, of course, the Defense Department,
Right.
and then, power industry. We support all those industries. So our, internal operations need to be tight so that our customers can be tight.
Yeah, redundancy is critical, obviously. Yeah. How are you leveraging AI, machine learning, and predictive analytics in your operations and customer offerings?
Yeah, so AI is a great topic for us.
Uh-huh.
It's embedded in every part of our kind of strategy and our go-to-market and our products and services. But we're also using it internally. We're a manufacturer ourselves, so we use it in our own manufacturing, and then we're using it at the enterprise level for your typical productivity enhancements and that sort of thing. I think one of the most interesting use cases for us was something that we actually won the CIO award here for, is our Factory AI solution in one of our manufacturing facilities in Singapore. This is helping with optimization of the production lines, building quality in, helping onboard new engineers and new production employees, helping them with the testing, that sort of thing. And then embedding assistance in as something's happening in the manufacturing environment, is guiding operators through the recovery process and what's happening in the process itself.
So AI actually acts as an assistant with onboarding people, for example?
Yeah. So if you think of a production employee, it would typically take us maybe 6 months to onboard someone in our assembly lines to get them up to speed about how to assemble our products. Well, there's sometimes a high turnover rate there, and then, or you get you get a big demand, so you have to onboard more people. Onboarding, taking 6 months, we've been able to bring that down to, several weeks or maybe a month and a half by using AI assistants to kind of guide them through the process, and then combining that with AR and VR to give them kind of visuals on how to do the assembly. So, I think this applies for many jobs, right, where you can onboard people quicker into the competency that they need to perform the task.
I got to be honest, I've never thought of that as a use for AI before, so that's remarkable. What's one of the cultural shifts you've led at the company, and especially in the IT organization, that you're really proud of?
I think the biggest cultural shift for the IT organization has been making sure that they knew that we are just not providing back office kind of operations. Yes, those are important, they're mission critical from that standpoint, but that the IT is a part of the strategy of the company. So, I always, try and remind them that IT is the business of Rockwell, and the business of Rockwell is IT. Our stated strategy is bringing the connected enterprise to life as a company. What that means is the integration of the IT world and the OT world. So things that run in the factory, the things that run in the enterprise. Well, we're in, IT's part of that strategy. So embedding that kind of cultural mindset that IT is part of the ongoing strategy. Our products and services are embedded in what we provide to customers. This is how we grow revenue. This is how we grow market share as a company. So just really making sure that they're part of the strategy, not just enabling it. Yes, we enable it, but we're also part of the future strategy of the company.
Okay. So you guys are at the center of industrial digital transformation. How has your own IT organization evolved to support the mission internally and for customers?
Yeah, I mean, the evolution is kind of grounded in what I just talked about, is being part of the strategy. Is we're not only providing the underlying systems, transactional systems to operate, but the customer interface. We've done a lot of work on that customer experience part, something internally we call our demand to renew, and growing our subscription services and annual recurring revenue. So just as few as 5-6 years ago, our annual recurring revenue is less than 1% of our total revenue. Today, it's over 10%.
Wow.
Is annual recurring revenue. That provides a lot of capability for the company, but it also required a shift in our operating model as a company from selling through a hardware through a distribution channel. Now our product portfolio is expanded to more software, more services, more software as a service, and then that kind of go-to-market motion is very different when you're selling subscriptions or annual recurring revenue, which required an overhaul of kind of all the transactional systems, the Salesforce organization, adding more software capabilities both within an IT and in our product units. So we interface that way. My group also has, our IT group also has a group for data analytics and insights. So sometimes they're creating solutions that we use in our own factories. This is part of what we call our Rockwell on Rockwell program. We've become the first and best customer, where we're kind of drinking our own champagne, eating our own dog food in the company. And then those solutions that we create, and many of them these days are including AI as a bigger component of it, become showcases for customers. They come in and see how we're operating our own manufacturing, and then they say, well, we think we have something similar in ours. So I think that really embeds it. And then sometimes we're working directly with customers on bespoke solutions in the AI space. And then those sometimes get adopted into our product portfolio or into our solutions and services organizations that get resold to other customers.
It makes a lot of sense. I mean, you're showcasing it within your own environment. They can see how it works. I get that. What does smart manufacturing really mean today, and how is Rockwell helping customers move from concept to execution?
Yeah, so smart manufacturing is all about this industrial 4.0, or moving up the maturity curve from really augmenting kind of your operations to semi-autonomous to eventually autonomous, things that run by themselves. So you think of a self-driving car. Well, you can have a self-driving factory fully autonomous. So we're helping customers think about that roadmap and that journey of maturity from really level 1 through level 3, and level 5 would be kind of an autonomous factory. Most of those totally autonomous factories are operating in like the semiconductor industry. Other industries are well below that, but we're having a lot more conversations in every industry about how do they become this factory of the future, how do they build that kind of capability. And it's really the convergence of several technologies that are available now. It's a combination of marrying physical AI up with causal AI and agentic AI. So you think about starting the order, moving it through into production, and then having it wind up on a physical device like a robot, right? And those autonomous robots then can move things to the production line and kind of have everything kind of work together on a feedback loop that operates the manufacturing process autonomously.
Okay. I want to move on to skills, especially in your industry. What skills are most in demand for your IT and digital teams right now, and how are you attracting or developing them internally?
Yeah, we've seen quite a transition on skills. First, it was kind of having more software skills, having more cloud operations. Now you're starting to interject all the AI capabilities into it. We've built up kind of data science kind of capabilities, machine learning capabilities over the year, but now everything's moving towards AI agents, agentic AI, being able to leverage the large language models and then marry that up with what I've talked about earlier, the causal AI that happens in manufacturing and the physical AI controlling kind of the physical devices, building of digital twins, right? So that's another technology that we see as very important for this autonomous operations. So hiring people that have first off literacy in AI, but then can build up, kind of fluency. And this is not just for IT people going forward, it's also going to be for all of our functional areas in the company, as well as our product development groups who are also embedding it. So AI is kind of embedded in every level of our strategy going forward in our products and services, our customer experience, but then in our enterprise operations.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of people have never heard the term physical AI, but when you say that, you're talking about AI ingesting information, data from physical devices.
Yeah, and vice versa, pushing down, having agents tell that physical device, a robot, what to do, and then the robot having its own AI so that it can autonomously navigate through kind of a complicated manufacturing floor, bring goods to the line, move goods throughout the line, and then bring it back to the warehouse and then do warehouse management with it.
And I'm sure IoT has a lot to do with that.
Absolutely, it does.
Well, I want to end on a lighthearted question.
Sure.
So this can be personal or professional, but do you have a favorite gadget right now or application that you're playing with?
A favorite gadget, I'd say my favorite, pastime is looking at all the new technology that comes out every week and seeing what has been kind of overcome, from week to week, right? GPT-5 just got released, a couple days ago. So, kind of playing with those tools and looking at the capabilities, and then what did it take out of the portfolio that was there? That's a little bit of my favorite pastime. Is these things are moving so fast, and keeping up the pace with it is then, what other tools am I, deprecating because now there's new capabilities in these large language models.
I lied. I have one more follow-up because that generated a thought in my head. What do you think of GPT-5? It's promising a lot. It's promising more accurate responses, fewer hallucinations. What do you think of it so far?
I think it's been pretty powerful from the limited times I've done it. I would say that from my experiences, where people get tripped up is not maybe following the rules of prompting correctly, right? So there's a great prompting guide out there. There's the whole guide on GPT-5. I think sometimes people just start using the tool without understanding the constructs that work best with it.
Right.
So I'm pretty bullish on the capabilities continuing to improve, but you got to follow some good practices to get the best out of it. That's what I would say.
Makes sense. Christopher, thank you. Thank you so much for being here and giving me some of these insights. I really appreciate them. They were great.
Yeah.
And
pleasure.
I hope you enjoy the rest of the show.
Yeah, it's been great show, and I enjoy talking about this topic. So thanks for asking me.
Awesome.